The average person spends around 6 hours a day on their phone. By the end of your life, that adds up to nearly 10 years staring at a screen. And what's scary is we've started calling this normal. It's become normal to ignore the person in front of you for the screen in your hand. It's become normal to trade sleep for scrolling. It's become normal to sit on the couch for hours instead of moving your body. It's become normal to wake up and reach for your phone before you even stand up. And it's become normal to feel disconnected from your own life. But I honestly don't think we should accept this as normal. And 4 years ago, I was no different. I was addicted to social media with a screen time of 9 hours every day. Until one day I had enough. I was sick of watching my life pass me by, and so I made the decision to delete my social media accounts, and that one decision changed my life forever. And so in this video, I want to share with you the 10 honest lessons I learned from living 4 years without social media. But I'll warn you up front, this isn't soft advice, and I'm not going to be sugarcoating anything, because these are the truths my younger self needed to hear in order to make a change. So let's get into it. Number 1, you are your actions, not your words. Your character isn't defined by what you say you care about. Is defined by what you do every day. Words are easy to say. Anybody can say, I care about my health. I'm serious about my goals. I really care about this person. But your actions tell the truth. A few years ago, when I was addicted to social media, I was completely misaligned. I said I cared about my time. I said I cared about my health. I said I cared about building something meaningful. And yet every day I'd spend hours scrolling. And it was a painful thing to admit, but when I looked at my behavior, I realized that I wasn't who I said I was. I didn't value my time, I didn't value my health, and I didn't value my goals. My actions instead showed that I valued celebrity news, seeing what other people were doing, endless scrolling, and that wasn't the person that I wanted to be. The truth is, every single day, your actions show you what you value and what is important to you, not your words. Honestly, words don't matter. Actions do. And I think we often fool ourselves with words because it's easier than facing the truth. Our ego wants to protect our own self-image, and talking about these things makes us feel good, but the truth is it doesn't change anything. There's a quote I like that says, be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is who you really are. Your reputation is just what others think you are. Most of us spend so much time managing how we are perceived that we forget to work on who we actually are. Stepping away from the internet creates space to be alone with your thoughts, your habits, your choices. And it's in that space that you're forced to confront your character, not your self-image. Personally, that's what changed everything for me. When I took time away from the internet, I stopped performing for attention, and I finally started working on who I wanted to become. Number 2, true confidence comes from within. Social media trains us to seek external validation. Likes, comments, followers, it's all proof that you're seen. And let's be honest, it feels good, right? You post that selfie and you get a like, you check the numbers, you feel noticed for a moment, but that feeling never lasts. And so we do it again and again, and we get stuck in this cycle of chasing our self-worth through external validation. But what I truly learned since being offline is that true confidence doesn't come from the outside world. It comes from you and your actions. Confidence comes from you being the person that you say you are, from keeping the small promises to yourself of getting up early in the morning, cooking that healthy meal, going to do that workout. You show up and do the work you need to do even when no one is watching. Because let's be real, you can't hide from yourself. You know who you are behind closed doors, when the screen is off and when your head hits the pillow at night. And so if you don't respect who you are in private, then no amount of attention in public will fix that. And so it comes back to the same quote, be more concerned with your character than your reputation. Because when you work on yourself, your discipline, your habits, your values, that's something no one else can take away from you. Whereas money can be lost, status can disappear, everything you own could be burnt in a fire tomorrow, and attention will always fade. And so if your worth is based on these external things, then you don't really know who you are. When I deleted my social media and started to use my time more intentionally, my self-esteem and my confidence completely changed, and I really started to respect who I was. And over time, I noticed that I cared less about other people's approvals because I wasn't living for validation anymore, but I was finally showing up for myself. And by the way, if you don't want to spend another year of your life scrolling and you want to learn how to cut your screen time by 50% or more in less than 30 days and reclaim 20 plus hours every week so you can start to enjoy your life, then click the link in the description below. Number 3, if you lose contact, they aren't your real friend. Oof, I'm sorry about this one. It might hurt to hear, but it's got to be said. One of the biggest reasons I hear that people don't want to delete their social media is because of losing contact with people. And I get it, I was scared of that as well. And the truth is, I did lose contact with some people. But what I realized over time is that the people I lost contact with weren't real close friendships, but they were just superficial connections. We'd like each other's posts, reply to stories, maybe have the occasional conversation, and of course that makes you feel good. But the truth is, it didn't really add to my life in the long term. And so when I looked at the trade-off I was making, I was spending 9 hours a day on my phone, all because I was too scared to lose these connections. And so it didn't feel worth it anymore. The thing is, for a lot of us, friendships only exist because of convenience. For example, you're in the same job, the same school, the same online space. However, the minute that environment disappears, so does the friendship. Now, that doesn't mean that anyone did anything wrong, but it just shows you what was real and what was circumstantial. In my opinion, losing contact with some people was so worth it, because once I got my time and attention back, I got my life back. And what surprised me the most is that my life didn't get lonelier without social media, but it got so much better. I made more friends in real life, I started connecting with strangers and having more conversations, and I grew real confidence, which filled me up so much more than any superficial connections could have. And so ask yourself this: do you really care about those online connections, or are you just afraid to let them go? And is that fear worth giving hours of your life away to these platforms every single day? It's something worth thinking about. Number 4, a lack of presence is unattractive. Have you ever tried talking to someone and you can tell they're not really listening? Maybe they give a generic response. Their eyes don't quite meet yours, and you can tell that their attention is somewhere else. How does it feel? It's kind of a bit uncomfortable, right? It feels disconnecting, sometimes even disrespectful. It makes you feel unseen, like you may as well not even be there. And that's because they aren't present. When someone is truly present, you can feel it because there's an energy to it. There's a sense of respect. They're listening, they're engaged, and they're genuinely interested in what you have to say. And I honestly don't think there's anything less attractive than someone who can't be present because they're so distracted by their phone. I see this everywhere. People who can't make eye contact, people who order a drink from the barista without even looking at their face, people who sit with their friends yet scroll the entire time, people who can't stand to be alone for even just a few minutes without reaching for their device. And it's so sad because physically we are here, but mentally we are somewhere else. We're wishing we were in the future, escaping the present and missing our lives as they're truly happening. But being present in life is everything because it's how we connect with one another. It's how we build real relationships. It's how we experience our own lives. When you show up fully in your life without needing constant distractions, it shows self-respect. It shows respect for others, and it reflects the standard you hold for how you choose to live. Number 5, you attract your energy. For many years, I felt very lonely in my life. I felt like I was constantly around people who didn't share similar values to me, and I would often feel frustrated at how everyone was addicted to their phone. I would often think things like, I wish people were more present. I wish the world would change. I wish people held higher standards for their lives. But yet, guess what I was doing? The exact same thing. I was spending all of my days scrolling my life away, not engaging in anything meaningful and distracting myself. And so there I was, complaining about something that I hadn't changed in myself. And so I had to learn that before you can expect the world or other people to change, you first need to change yourself. It's hypocritical to complain about a problem if you're not willing to do the work to become the solution. Think about it this way: if you want people in your life with higher standards, then you have to raise your own standards first. Because how can you expect to attract like-minded people if you're not first becoming that person? The truth is, you don't attract what you want in life, you attract what you are. And I see other people make this mistake all the time. People who say they're lonely, people who say they want better people in their life. They want to be around people who are motivating with big aspirations or goals, but yet they haven't done the work on themselves to become the type of person that those people would actually want to be around. We want the outcome without becoming the person it requires. And I know this might sound harsh, but this is what I needed to realize in order to start making a change. I had to get brutally honest with myself, look in the mirror and be like, why would those people want to be around me when all I do is waste my time? I have nothing meaningful to talk about and I hold low standards for my life. Is that truly who I want to be? And so the moment I stopped waiting for the world around me to change and I took responsibility for myself, everything shifted. I started to raise the standards of my life and stop making excuses. No, a 5-hour screen time is not okay. No, I'm not going to go on my phone when I'm around other people. I'm not going to spend my evenings scrolling, but I'm going to go out and do a workout. And naturally, over time, the people I attracted into my life began to shift. Because when you do the work to step into a better version of yourself and raise your standards, you stop attracting the wrong people and start aligning with those who lift you higher. Number 6, scrolling has become a drug. Social media has become a form of escape because let's face it, it's way easier to scroll the day away than it is to face the reality of your life. It's easier to numb your mind with TikTok than feel an uncomfortable emotion. It's easier to binge watch YouTube shorts than it is to go out for a walk or cook a healthy meal. And so that's what we do. Day after day, we scroll, numbing ourselves so that we don't have to feel any pain in our lives. But avoiding our problems only makes them worse because the problems don't disappear, but they just linger in the background. And now our excessive scrolling creates even more problems because we move less, we spend less time outside, our mental health starts to suffer, our sleep declines, anxiety builds up, and our physical health starts to deteriorate. On top of that, these platforms are intentionally designed to be addictive, and so it's become all too easy to fall into the habit of avoiding our lives, not taking care of our health, and using the screen to run away from our problems. And so in a very real sense, it is just like a drug. That's why I think we need to really learn how to use these platforms intentionally and in a controlled way. Because the truth is simple, you can't run from your life and expect it to get better. The only way forward is through, and so the moment you choose to face it, real change begins. Number 7, social media companies want you scared. Here's something I've noticed, but every single time I talk to someone who has a social media addiction, they all say the same excuse for why they don't want to delete their apps. I don't want to miss out on what my friends are doing. I don't want to lose contact with people. I don't want to feel left out or lonely. Everyone fears that if they go offline, their life will get worse, they will lose their friends, and they will feel alone. But do you notice the pattern? Everyone says the same thing, and it's not by accident, but this fear is designed because it's exactly what keeps people glued to their screens. Social media companies design these platforms to keep you online as long as possible. They're engineered to make you feel like if you step away, you will miss out on something important, a post, a notification, a like, a story. In other words, they want you to feel like your life will be worse without them because they need you so that they can keep making money. But I'm telling you right now, most of this fear that you feel will go away after a few weeks if you just push through. And I've seen so many other people who say the same thing. At first it feels uncomfortable, and yes, you do feel like you're missing out, but that feeling is temporary and it eventually passes. And once you stop checking for updates every minute, you start noticing the things that really matter. Real conversations, your own thoughts, your hobbies, your goals. And slowly you start to realize that the world doesn't just move on without you, but life keeps going, and for the first time you're actually living it, instead of just scrolling through everyone else's. And so if this fear of missing out is holding you back, I want you to remember that these platforms want you to feel that way. Everyone experiences it, and so the answer isn't to run away from it, but it's to be brave, embrace it, and keep moving forward anyway. Number 8, time is worth more than money. In the Western culture, we're taught to prioritize wealth, possessions, and the pursuit of money above almost everything else. We aim for more income, more stuff, more status. And yet, isn't it ironic that many of the wealthiest countries in the world are also among the sickest? Higher rates of anxiety, depression, obesity, heart disease, despite all of the convenience and the comfort that we have. And I believe this has happened because we've lost touch with what truly matters. We've traded meaning for money, working jobs we don't like just to afford lifestyles we don't need and to impress people that we don't care about. We've traded presence for productivity, always rushing, always multitasking, turning every quiet moment into something to optimize instead of something to experience. And we've traded connection for convenience, texting instead of talking, scrolling instead of listening. Despite being more connected than ever online, we've become more disconnected, less empathetic, and more isolated. The truth is, we don't need more stuff. We need more connection, purpose, and real experiences. And all of those things come down to one thing: how you spend your time. Because time is the most valuable thing that we have, and yet most people give it away to these apps. But you have to realize that your life is happening right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, and no amount of money can buy more of it. That's why learning to spend your time intentionally on people, experiences, and habits that truly matter is the most important investment you will ever make. Because when you look back on your life, it won't be the money that mattered the most. It will be how present you were, who you loved, and how you chose to spend your time. Number 9, comparison is the thief of joy. This is a big one, but when I got rid of social media, I started noticing more of the blessings in my life and appreciating the things that were right in front of me. I remember at the time I was living in a council flat in a bit of a rough area, and I was working as a receptionist in a law firm on quite low pay. And yet, even though my external circumstances were far from perfect, I remember those days as being some of the happiest of my life. I wasn't comparing myself to anybody. I had no idea what other people were doing in their lives, and I was just so present. And I remember one particular day, I came home from work, biking in the rain, and I decided to make a leek and potato soup. And I remember that moment, sitting in silence, taking a bite from the meal I just made, and I was thinking, this soup is the shit. In that moment, I felt so happy and at peace, and I was just so grateful for the experience. And that simple moment actually taught me something very important, that peace of mind is an internal mental state. It comes from your perspective, being present, and being able to appreciate the things in your life. The moment I stepped away from social media, all those thoughts of wanting more, comparing myself to others, or needing the latest thing began to fade. I stopped absorbing everything that the world was constantly pushing at me, and instead I became more present. Life slowed down, and I started to notice what was right in front of me, and suddenly the simple things in life felt beautiful again. Number 10, if you died tomorrow, what would you regret? In Buddhist traditions, many people meditate on death. Not because it's morbid, but because there's no greater teacher for how to live. I feel incredibly grateful that I've been through experiences in my own life where I nearly lost my life. Of course, at the time, there was a lot of pain and suffering, but looking back now, I'm so grateful because coming that close to death changed how I see life. It stripped away what doesn't matter, and it made the small moments feel sacred, and it taught me to appreciate being alive in a way that nothing else ever could. The truth is, none of us know how much time we have left. Something could happen to you tomorrow or years from now. And I don't say this to create fear, but to face a simple reality, which is that we are not here forever. And so the real question is, do you want to spend your one beautiful life distracted, numbing yourself out, scrolling on the couch all day? Or do you want to be present for the time that you've been given? Because this life isn't something to escape from, but it's something to be lived. I hope this video made you think. Take care. All the best.